Good morning. It's Sunday, May 3rd, and we're going to continue our discussion today on the subject of action and the importance of choosing those actions aligned to our behaviors rather than our words. So the prompt from the Daily Stoic is, am I showing or telling? So spending time studying classical Greek and Roman teachings kind of naturally leads you down the path of etymology, or the study of the origin of words and how those words have evolved in terms of our usage throughout history. And one example related to today's prompt immediately comes to mind. Today, if somebody calls you sophisticated, meaning somebody with a wide range of knowledge on various topics like art, literature, science, fashion, whatever, you might take it as a compliment. But it wasn't always meant to be the one. In fact, in the 15th century, it meant adulterated or tampered with. Sophistication was associated with sophistry. And to understand that, we have to go back to the 5th century BC to look at another school of philosophy in Athens called the Sophists. And the root word of all of these terms is sophos, which means wisdom. And the Sophists claim to teach arete, or excellence, or wisdom in human affairs like politics, ethics, household management. And that sounds like a noble effort at first glance, but Athens at the time was an increasingly litigious society. And therefore, there was a great need to improve one's ability to persuade and to do so publicly within the court system. And the Sophist philosophers catered to Greece's rich, charging exorbitant amounts of money in exchange for wisdom. The wisdom of learning to win a dispute in order to prove their excellence via word usage. For the Sophists, there was no verity. There were only equal opinions. And verity was the only one that was clearly demonstrated by the rhetorician. They valued one's ability to use words to manipulate, impress, and entertain others, regardless of having any underlying truth. So if we flash forward several hundred years to the time of Epictetus and his school of philosophy in Greece, he continually reminds his students that they need to show and not tell what they know. He reminds them, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. But before we can embody it, we have to understand it. We have to be able to define it. And that requires that we study and examine it. And that's why we invest time in these thought exercises, working through challenging ideas and forcing ourselves to go deeper. We don't want to come across as a sophist, one who speaks at surface level without any real substance or conviction underlying those thoughts. In fact, that leads to a lesson from Epictetus that I read yesterday and I was discussing with Jen before dinner. Yes, that's the kind of stuff that we talk about here in this house. But it's one in which he talks about the dangers of associating with others that we consider to be of negative influence. So couldn't one argue that we have just as good of a chance of affecting positive influence on that same person? Not necessarily, warns Epictetus. You see, it all comes down to conviction. The gossiper is unconflicted in their position. They embrace the dialogue, and their lack of reservation inspires us to join them. Conversely, if we only provide lip service on the key tenets of our beliefs and virtues, but our actions don't align, then the other person immediately sees through us. And we've lost all credibility and possibility on the opportunity to positively influence. So until we've reached that pinnacle state, that state of enlightenment, which honestly is just aspirational, it doesn't exist because nobody's perfect, then we're better served by letting our actions speak louder than our words and avoid coming across as too sophisticated, at least in the classical usage of the word. Anyways, hope you found that entertaining and helpful. Have a great day.